Hey everyone, welcome to the Self-Awareness Journey podcast. I'm Melissa Albers.
And I'm JJ Parker. This podcast is for seekers of happiness, joy, and a centered approach to success in life. Seekers of their true, authentic selves.
Get ready for some real talk on everything from anxiety, emotions, and habits to love, compassion, and forgiveness. We know you'll be challenged and enlightened by this conversation, and we're so glad you're here. Let's dive in.
All right, so I was having fun the other day thinking about how I was in high school.
Oh, man.
Because I found myself, I was working on a new, to be honest with you, I was working on a new business idea.
Oh my gosh.
For fun, like I do on the weekends. So my quick business idea.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll add it to the list.
Yeah, get it on the list.
Okay.
Is basically dinner with strangers.
Oh, so, yeah. You were talking about this last pod.
Yeah. So this idea, right, that I want to set up a thing where you go have dinners with strangers. So it kind of works on the epidemic of loneliness we have in our country. You can meet new people. It's hard meeting new friends, making new friends as adults, right? So I think that would be super fun. So I spent quite a few hours thinking about this idea about how I could coordinate en masse a service that match makes people, and not for a dating reason, but just for a friendly dinner reason.
Can I just break it to you now? I didn't last time because I didn't want to. I didn't want to.
Did you Google it?
Rain on your parade? No, but you know how I'm constantly into UK television. I watch UK television way more than American television because it's so much more. It's so much better. It's just so much better. Okay. One of the programs that they have, and I can't remember the name. It might be Dinner with Strangers, but it is a group of 6 people that are randomly thrown together for dinner. And they meet at someone's house and they have a certain, they ask questions and it's a whole thing. And I didn't want to tell you.
And they record this for a TV show?
It's a TV show. It's a TV show. I've watched it many times.
They plus one it on me. They also have it as a TV show.
Well, if you have a VPN, I'm going to send you a link and you can watch it because it's pretty darn good. But anyway, okay, we digress.
So I was doing that, and then I was like, why am I trying to coordinate dinner with strangers? Why am I doing that? Why am I sitting here on the weekend obsessively thinking about this idea? And I was kind of reflecting on that, and I was like, is there something about me in particular, my wiring, that makes me want to coordinate stuff? And then it dawned on me that when I was in high school, my group of friends used to call me the event coordinator.
Oh my God. Are you serious?
Yeah. So this was before, cell phones and email and all of that stuff. So to coordinate your group of friends, it was quite an effort, right? You had to be dialing the landline home phone, hey, we're meeting here at 10 o'clock. And,
the landline.
Right? So you had to make all these phone calls, and you had to make
passing
sure everyone
notes in school.
Totally, there's a whole system,
underground
whole archaic system. But I remember that was my nickname in my group of friends, was the event coordinator. So whenever anyone wanted to do something, they first contacted me, and then I would coordinate the communication to all of my friends.
Oh my gosh.
And that is exactly what I was doing the other weekend.
Trying to create this new business.
Yeah.
That is a very funny thing. So I did not really have a nickname until I got a little out of high school, but I used to get nicknamed the doctor all the time. Because if there was ever any problems.
Because you're trying to diagnose people.
If there was ever any problems, people would talk to me.
That's funny.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
And then because I was a bit of a control freak and maybe not, I always saw myself in not always the best light. I always pictured Lucy Van Pelt from the Snoopy's gang.
What?
Don't you remember? She had her
little stand,
little blue dress with her hair, and then she had the little 5-cent psychiatric treatment or whatever, psychiatrist on duty.
More impressive, you know her last name.
Who doesn't know Lucy Van Pelt's last name?
I didn't even realize she had a last name. Well, isn't that interesting how like, both you and I had kind of like these stereotypes or like these nicknames or these maybe like these roles that we played with our like friends when we were like late teens, early 20s.
Right.
And they just kind of stuck with us.
Oh, yeah, they sure did. And I wonder if those have always been there. Like the natural behaviors are like the strengths that we have, like the kind of like our character or what we're known for. I wonder if that's always the case. Like if you're born with that or if you develop it because of something in your familial system helps address that or what. I bet you it's a whole combination of things.
Yeah, that's a really good question. Like, why would I have developed that role in my friend group?
Yeah. Exactly. I mean, personality is set by the time you're in your late teens. Obviously, you know, the traits that someone takes on. But this is a little different. Like, this is more your behaviors, you know?
And for me, I think like I was always like a pretty shy and quiet kid.
So how did you get to be the event coordinator if you were shy and quiet?
Well, good question.
Yeah, seriously.
That's a really good question. I don't know. Like, I don't know how I took on that role.
Yeah.
It could be that it was just that I was just good at like going through the whole list of people and contacting them and telling them what we were doing. It's like, you know, it's very utilitarian.
You had a process.
Yeah, it was like a process. It was a very utilitarian role, right? It wasn't like I was socializing with everybody or anything. It was just coordinating it. It's like it's a process. I was a process person.
So let's just like zoom out of this just a little bit. So we kind of been talking about our own individual stereotypes or, you know, kind of who we were. How would you describe what your friend group was in high school? And how would you, if you were to stereotype them into like a clique or a group? Because high school is all about that. Yep. High school is very little about individual contribution, even though I think we all had our place in our little subgroups. But what was your subgroup known for? Or what was it like?
Like we were the nerds or the misfits.
You were?
Like, oh, yeah. Like we were not the popular kids. We were not the athletic kids.
Oh, yeah.
We were the ones who hung out at the TV station late at night and, you know, played around with old camcorders and VCRs. Made video.
So funny. Did you ever depart from that at any time during high school? That group? Did you ever depart from that?
Nope. Not at all. I stuck with my same little group. Well, actually, that's an interesting one. So my core group of friends, some of them went to the other high school in my city. Like we had two high schools.
So you guys broke up.
So and a couple of them were older than me too. So because we all rallied around volunteering at this TV station.
Okay. So yeah, that's right.
So we were different grades, we were different schools. So we all clicked together because we volunteered at this one place. Okay. In high school itself, in my grade, like I had a couple of friends, but it was pretty small because what I wanted to do most of the time was go hang out with like my other core group of friends who weren't in my grade and not in my classes.
What I think is interesting about high school is like, so you stayed in your kind of core group, and were they your core group because of the television station, or were they your core group and you all found the television station as an outlet?
We all separately, I think, volunteered at the TV station and found each other at the TV station. Yeah, I didn't know them outside the TV station.
Oh, because you know what I think is interesting is for me, because I moved so much. And then when I graduated from Park Center High School, which is in Brooklyn Park, Minnesota, in the cities. And there were like 500 kids in the graduating class. I didn't show up there until 9th grade. So a lot of those friend groups had already been really cast. And I just remember seeking out different groups, like trying different groups on for size, so to speak, right? I had been in band in junior high. I dropped out of that when I wasn't first chair anymore. I was no longer interested.
If you weren't winning band.
I'm telling you. And then I tried out for sports. Terrible. Absolutely terrible. But I didn't have any encouragement that way. So I didn't know if I was good or bad. I just didn't have any energy behind it because I didn't know. So that kind of excluded me from all the sports people. And there were a lot of, I remember like thinking I would see certain people like on this, sport on the soccer pitch or whatever. And I'd be like, oh my gosh, they're so athletic. They're so good. They're so above me. So I remember putting myself in all these different classes, like class war, not as in like sociology, but I remember like as a senior in high school, was it a senior? Yeah, I think it was a senior. I was done with sports. I had no idea what to do. So a girlfriend of mine says, you should try out for the play. Okay. Well, the play people, we had nicknames for them that I won't even repeat. Terrible stereotypes of anyone that's in a play, right? And she's like, well, you know what? It'd be fun. It's not soccer. It's not a different sport. And hey, maybe you'll get to be like a townsperson or something in this play. Well, I ended up getting one of the leads.
Wow.
I had like 14 costume changes and I had a solo. It was the Music Man and I was Eulalie McKechnie Shin, who was the mayor's wife. And I remember that being one of the most fun times of this group. This group had such a different energy and vibe than any other group I had ever hung out with. And I loved it. But then I had this weird sort of like, oh, they're not well received in the rest of the mass, And so that's...
So you're starting to figure out the hierarchy of
the
groups.
Totally. Yeah, totally. And I didn't know what to do. Like, I didn't know, like, okay, as soon as the play is done, because that's like right away in the fall. And as soon as that's done, I don't know what to do with myself. Like I don't know who I should be hanging out with. And I just remember feeling very much like I was always searching for my people and never quite feeling like I fit in, which I'm sure, by the way, was a construct in my own mind, not theirs. You know what I mean?
Yep.
But it's just so interesting, like whenever you and I compare our childhood, I always feel like saying, hey, JJ, your really healthy upbringing is showing. You might want to just tuck that in a little bit. It's poking out. You're really stable, certain environment, and all of your friends are your friends forever, and they're all good. And
that's trauma. That's trauma-free privilege, right?
Oh, but it is interesting how you kind of lean in, like, so just those two opposites, right? Like those two stories that we've just told, how we still lean into our own behaviors that we like and how they change,
right.
Or don't change.
For you, like if you were in drama or doing plays and things like that, you still do a lot of public speaking. You love being out in front of the crowd, right?
I do. That's so funny.
And then you as the one people go to like help diagnose their problems. That part's interesting too.
I know.
Like you're the shoulder to cry on, the one to give advice, the one to listen.
Yeah. Yeah. And you are hugely the organizer still. Hugely.
Yeah.
You but what's funny is, and I wonder if you didn't do the exact same thing when you were younger, is that you would throw it all together and then by the time that it was happening, you were like, yeah, I don't care if I'm there or not.
Oh, for sure. That's definitely my move.
Oh, that is so funny. That is so funny.
Well, there's probably the other thing as we were talking is that a few years ago, I distinctly remember quite a few years ago, I think when you and I were doing chorology. I remember like really getting back into making videos.
Yes. And, you were really. And
I had kind of taken a hiatus from doing that for quite a while. But then once we kicked up that project and we had some video work to do, I'm like, oh, wait, I can do the video stuff. I remember I like doing the video stuff.
Yeah.
And that was so comfortable because it just brought me back to that sweet spot from when I was in high school.
Yeah.
And I still like doing it today. I still just edit videos for fun.
you are also really good at it. Like you do make it look easy. Like your work product, I'm serious, your work product's amazing and easy. And I think when you see people that have that level of work product or the things that they can produce that are so well done, and so there is a component of that of natural connectedness to what it is, like that behavior, that love that you have, the love that you have for something, I think definitely translates over time.
Yep.
And I think that's kind of what we're talking about is what is it that you love? Because you probably were manifesting it at a young age in a very immature sort of way that you didn't realize.
Yeah. And what I was realizing is kind of as we've getting into, maybe this more middle age, we went to college, we maybe got married, kids, lots of blocking and tackling. And through that process, sometimes you kind of like lose yourself a little bit.
Yeah, I
right?
agree.
And once the kids get older and they maybe start moving out, there's an opportunity to like start rediscovering a little bit about yourself. And that's what I was reflecting on most was, there's like these things that I do, and some of them are just me kind of getting back to some of the things I was doing when I was in my late teens, early 20s.
That is fascinating to think about.
And I wonder how many other people might think about what they did when they were in high school, and if that would be something like today, fast forward 30 years, that'd be comfortable for them to do. Yeah.
And to even to go back to trying, because I think it could go both ways, sort of. I feel like if you are, there's a lot of things that are just innately in you, and you do them easily, like you're talking about, and you could easily fall back into them even after a hiatus. I also wonder about the things that you did that really weren't you, and so now is your time to come back to who you really are and figure out what those things are and have them be wildly different. Like one of the things for me, I just remember always wanting to belong to a group of people that were all the same. I really remember that longing, but I could never quite find that. But you know what I realize now? It's because I wasn't meant to. Like, I'm not a groupthink kind of person. Like, I don't want to have 75 friends that are all doing the same thing. And yet situationally, like the outdoors, like I loved when I was growing up, I loved the outdoors. Skiing, camping, hiking, swimming. I mean, anything and everything was just, I absolutely loved it. And there's still components of being outside that I still have that same feeling, that like deep resonant tone of, oh, I love this so much. And it makes me feel good now. It makes me not feel like I'm 58.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
there's one thing that I do that makes me feel like a kid every time. Like last night, I got home and it was kind of nice out. And I was like, ooh, perfect opportunity to wash my car by hand in the driveway.
By hand in the driveway.
Yes, not at the gas station, through the car wash, like with the hose and the bucket and the sponge in my driveway.
And the smell of water and clean soap.
Open up all the doors of the car, vacuum it out, like get it all perfectly clean. I used to do that all the time when I was in high school.
That is so awesome.
I'll do that, and I kind of like look around at my neighbors, and I wonder, like, no one else sits out here and washes their car. It's only me. I'm like the only weird one still washing their car by hand. But I don't care. It makes me feel young.
Do you know what I still love to do that I've done ever since I was a younger child as well? 2 things. Looking for agates and looking for 4-leaf clovers.
Oh, 4-leaf clovers.
I am so good at looking for 4-leaf clovers still today. As a matter of fact, in my phone case that I'm holding right now that JJ can see, I have 2 or maybe just 1 4-leaf clover inside of my phone case.
Oh, in the back
at all
of it,
times.
Like hidden in there.
Yep, at all times. Yeah, because that is like, I've taught other people how to do it too, because it is kind of a skill the way you do it. But being 58, I've had a lot of Look, I'm showing you right now.
Oh, look at that. 2 4-leaf clovers.
Yep. See, there you go. I put my fishing license in there too, so I don't get in trouble, but I don't have that in there right now.
Just in case some emergency fishing breaks out.
Exactly. exactly.
You're not fully prepared.
But that kind of thing, I'm telling you what, I feel the same way. As a matter of fact, I get so into it. Like if I'm going to go for a walk, let's say I'm taking the dogs for a 3-mile walk or whatever it's going to be, 5 miles, 2 miles, whatever. I have a really hard time focusing on the walk and enjoying everything because the minute I see a clover patch, I'm like, I have to stop everything that I'm doing. And it makes me feel like a little kid. And the
dogs are trying to pull you out of there.
Yeah. The glee.
Dogs are like, let's go.
Oh my gosh. But yeah, I'm pretty good at it because I've spent many, many years getting good at it. And it's like one of my little weird behaviors. I mean, that is weird. Same with agates. Like try fly fishing in a stream when there's rocks that you can see really well. Hello. Talk about feeling stressed and not knowing which thing to focus on. Oh, well.
What about socially in your friend group? Like, we were talking about how my little friend group was kind of like the misfit nerds, and I was like the little group coordinator. Yeah. But going back to that, like we did have one guy that was like kind of like the funny guy. We had one guy that was like more like the adventurous one or the risk taker. We had one guy that was kind of a risk taker, which is fun.
And that wasn't you. That wasn't you?
That wasn't me. Well, because I'm not a risk taker.
Oh, okay. Let's just get 4 inches of snow on the ground and then attach a ski to the back, and then have your friend drive you through with a car in the dark. Yeah, you're not a risk taker at all.
Those are all very calculated risks.
Okay, I'm sorry to distract from your story. Please continue.
Well, I'm just interested in what was your friend what was the rest of your friend group that kind of put you in that consultative role?
Oh, that is so interesting. So we did. And even when I switched friend groups, because I was a bit of a chameleon, I feel like there were always those same roles being played. One of them was the one that you can talk into anything. Maybe 2. Maybe all my friends were like that, and I just took that role. I don't know. Okay, we can delve into that some other day. But like the friend that you could always get to talk into anything. So if you were bored on a weekend, you didn't have anything to do, you could talk them into walking 3 miles in 95-degree temperatures just so you could hang out for 45 minutes before you had to be back in time for something else at home. Like I had that friend. I had friends that were always like the ones that always dated older boys. Right? And that scared me. I was like, oh, I don't know.
Yeah. That's the thing about my friend group. It was pretty much devoid of dating.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, and then we had
didn't seem like an option
athletic...
to us.
It didn't seem like, maybe it wasn't, but not right away. You guys all made up for it. But then I had one of my friends who was really good at sports. I mean, absolutely everything she did. She was in varsity by the time she was in 8th grade. I mean, even back then when that was just not typical or common. And I always had like these different levels of awe over all these different roles. But the thing is, like, I held myself apart from them. Like, I wasn't like that. Even though we were in these groups, there were just I feel like there was just a lot of casting that was done, and that's just within our own group. Like, what about the other groups that you weren't in high school? Yeah. What did you stereotype them as? Like when you talk about the sports people, for example, what was your stereotype about people like that? What is it that you thought about them? Do you remember?
Yeah, I always just remember that, like, it didn't feel like anyone else was very, like, socially, like, in reach for me. Like, it's not like I could go be friends with any of those people because, like, they were all into sports or theater or music
the people that
or
were in their own clubs or groups.
Yeah, and it didn't feel like you could go approach them in any way. Like, it's all very, like, segmented and isolated.
Yeah, but that's my whole point. It's like, so we ended up telling stories about those people. You know, like all the sports people, there was no way I was going to be friends with them because I wasn't into sports. I wasn't good at sports. And then therefore they must be sort of elitists, you know, or then we also had the burnouts, the kids that were like druggies or smokers. We had a smoking lounge in the back of the school. That was their answer to keep kids out of the bathrooms. With the cigarettes and they didn't vape then, but could you imagine today?
Oh, geez.
Yeah, so we called them the burnouts. What do you think we thought about them? Anybody that smelled like smoke or wore black or wore a lot of concert T-shirts, oh, yep, they're druggies. They have to be drug. Like, and were they? Who knows? They might have been straight A students who just like to have their hair longer. I mean, but when you're in high school, I don't think you think like that. You're just really constantly, I think, putting people in the box.
You attended an episode of The Breakfast Club.
Honey, I am The Breakfast Club.
Well, that's what makes that movie so amazing, right?
Know.
Is that it does capture like these stereotypes.
Right.
The other thing, when you're talking about the stereotypes and the other groups, is like how much of us thinking we can't really access another group is in us today as adults.
I agree.
I think it's more prevalent than we think.
Oh, you know what? I know it is. I know it is. Isn't that silly?
It is silly.
It is silly. For example, yesterday I was at the garden center and I ran into a couple that had kids the same age as ours. And the couple had 2 boys that were very good at hockey. Okay. Our son was good at hockey, but he wasn't as good as these 2 guys. And they had sort of that air, like, our son is always on the A team. Yours is not. That's the air that they had. I found myself, so it was years since I've seen them. They moved away out east. They moved back. They've been here 7 more years since they moved back. So like this is a long period of time, right? I found myself with the same exact feeling that I used to feel whenever I was around them last time. I just felt like, I feel like I need to, you know, like amplify how nice our family is or whatever. That's ridiculous. Like that is an old tape. That's so interesting that you called that out. It's so true.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting to think about high school and our roles and what we liked and what we didn't like and how it affects us today.
I agree. It's kind of fun to reminisce, but then I think there's lots of places where we can completely rewrite our own history, and now's the time.
Yep. Did you enjoy this episode? Please go to your favorite podcast platform to subscribe, rate, and leave a review so others can discover it as well. Growing self-awareness is a lifelong journey, and it's better when we're all in it together. Please think of someone you know who could benefit from hearing today's conversation and share this episode with them.
We can't thank you enough for listening. Until next time, happy exploring.